Hi, welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to this broadcast.
We are from Hand in Hand Parenting, and we believe that parenting may be the most rewarding and the hardest job that there is. For us as parents and caretakers to do the best job with our babies, we deserve lots of support. So, in this series, we'll cover ways we can respond to our babies with warmth, as well as how we can build support for ourselves. And I'm going to just take a second to introduce myself. I'm a certified hand-in-hand parenting instructor in Austin, Texas. My name is Laura Minigrode, and I'm the parent of 12, 15, and 17-year-olds, so 3 kids. What brought me to Hand in Hand was the tools that create powerful connection with children and create a support system for parents to be the parent that they always wanted to be.
And I'm Grace Fleming, married and a mom of a 26-year-old. I'm a hand-in-hand parenting instructor too. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. My son was already 17 when I heard about hand-in-hand parenting, and I fell in love with this approach immediately. I really adore the intelligence, the respect, and the warmth it embodies. I've used the listening tools with people of all ages, infants, preteens, teens, adults, and people older than me. Yeah. Today's topic is responding to your baby's tears. Laura, so how should we respond to our baby's tears?
So this is a topic that I love so much, and I want to start by saying that responding warmly to your baby builds her brain, and it also enhances her future relationships. So when you respond warmly to her cries with warmth and respect, your baby feels loved, and this process builds her brain, creates pathways in her brain.
So you're saying that when we treat our babies with love, even if they're crying, that directly affects her brain development, as in positively?
Yes, that really is the truth. It sounds amazing. But you being in tune with your baby and responding according to the way she makes a bid for connection with you is so very important for your baby to feel safe and feel loved, and for her to feel safe enough to learn. And that takes us to the second important point that I want to share about how to respond to babies is it's really helpful for you to picture your baby as a young person with feelings and thoughts. It really makes a difference. You're working together with your baby, and just you're the person who your baby looks to because she's taking in a lot of information, and yet she doesn't have the experience or knowledge to understand a lot of what she's taking in. And sometimes crying is the only way to release the tension of how overwhelming it is to be this small person in the world with no experience and knowledge. So even though crying seems bad, it's really important for us to do our best to stay warm and present.
Ooh, wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot. It's one of the hardest things to do.
So, Laura, how do we listen to our babies as if we were partners? I mean, just listening to my baby when he was a baby, crying made me want to cringe sometimes.
It is really hard. Sometimes it's just so hard to listen when all you want to do is to make it stop. You want your baby to be soothed and calm.
Yeah.
And there are times when your baby is just hungry or needs a new diaper or to change position. So there's definitely, those are times where those needs can be met. And then there's other times when your baby just has something to express. And the thing that's most important to do in that situation is for us to try and stay present and calm. So there's these experiences and feelings that your baby is struggling to process. And what they need at that time is really just a responsive listener. They need you to be that person who can lend a shoulder to cry on, literally.
Mm. So what is she trying to express, or what is he trying to express? I mean, I'm hungry, I'm uncomfortable, and you respond to that. What is she trying to express?
There's other times when, just imagine what it's like to not understand and to be really trying to process some feelings without the language to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of putting on your baby goggles, seeing the world as a tiny kind of helpless person without a lot of information. It's something that a baby needs to do in order to process and make sense of things.
Yeah, so you mentioned tension. So tension, I mean, could it go as far as like anxiety or fears? I mean, can a newborn infant have something as big as anxiety and fears?
I think so, yes. Babies are just like all humans. We have feelings and fears, and only babies have fewer tools to express what they're feeling. So crying's kind of it.
I see. Well, I like the image of the baby goggles, the insight that they have fear and anxiety, and they express. That sounds very purposeful, but then what do we do about it? I think you said something about express is the same as shedding stress.
Yeah.
What do we do in response to that?
Well, what I wanted to talk about today was a 3-step process where you can kind of get ready to listen and then do the listening that your baby needs you to do by holding that space. So I'm going to talk about these 3 steps, and then I'm going to also see if I can put it up on the screen. I was playing around with this earlier. Let me share that if I can. Let's see if this works. All right, so step 1 is to take a long, slow, deep breath and relax yourself. So important because the sound of a baby crying is very hard for us to hear. Just from an evolutionary standpoint, it can be really hard to hear. So if you can just take a moment to let go and take a deep breath and relax, your baby is going to actually respond to your own state. So if you have some tension in your body, it's going to show up in your voice or the way you're holding yourself or the way you're holding her. And so part of this taking a deep breath is also remembering that your baby has a really real reason to cry. Even if you've already checked everything and she doesn't need a diaper and she's not hungry, it helps to just remember that she's a person who has a reason. She's trying to express something. And know that your listening is going to be something that she really needs.
Okay. That's so deep.
So that's step 1. It's being relaxed, taking a moment.
Okay.
So let me see if I don't know if people can see the text. I hope so. I'm going to try the next one.
Okay.
Step 2 is to make eye contact with your baby. Because when that's a way for your baby to feel safe, when she can really tell that you are there, you're holding her gaze. Even if she's not returning it, you can still try and make contact by putting your hands on the baby and just gently connecting that way. And at the same time, you're trying to stay as relaxed as you can. And I'm saying that knowing that this is one of the hardest things that we do as parents is staying calm and listening to our babies. Continue to respond with your warm eye contact And if your baby's arching her back or thrashing, you can try and do your best to stay present with warmth. And this is actually really helping her to let go of her fears and her anxiety as you're staying there with her. You're giving her that space. Yeah. So that's step 2. Now, step 3 is to use words to remind the baby that you are there. And you don't have to say a lot. In fact, it's probably better to say just a few words. You might say something like, I'm here. You're safe. I'm here with you. And those really calm words can just add a little bit of reassurance and remind him that you're there.
So the baby's like, Wah! And you're like, hello, I'm here for you.
Lending some calm and some space. Yeah.
Wow, how powerful is that? Well, how about if I'm not happy? He woke up earlier than usual from his nap or something, and that, I don't know if I can pretend that I'm not upset because I'm trying to finish this project, and this was my chance.
Yeah. Or if it's like the third hour of listening gets hard. Well, this process that I'm talking about is much easier to implement if we ourselves have someone to listen to us. If we can find a kind person who will listen without judgment and who can listen with compassion. And that is one of the keys to hand-in-hand parenting in general, is we know that parenting is a really hard and important job. So the more you can find a way to also have some listening support, it makes a really big difference. So support is out there, and I'm hoping that we can help you to find a way to connect with some support for yourself, so that when you are listening to your baby and that and it's hard, you know that you have somewhere else to go with your feelings.
Well, when our son was an infant, I had a lot of people who wanted to give me advice. But the kind of person you're talking about, the ideal person, the person who will withhold judgment, I don't think I had anybody except for maybe my psychotherapist, or maybe you now.
Yeah.
How do you look for these people?
Well, you're in the right place. The Hand in Hand Facebook group is a great resource for finding support, even just posting here in the group. But there's also things like listening partnerships as the tool that we offer to help people really make sure that we have that on a regular basis in our lives. Wow. So I was hoping that we would also have some questions maybe that we could respond to here today. I'm wondering if we have any comments. I don't see any. I wonder if anyone would like to share any questions right now or thoughts.
Okay. Well, I can ask some questions. Is that all right?
Sure.
So, those of us who, I don't know of any mom who grew up with her parents listening to her crying, or mom or dad, with warmth and without judgment. Everybody I know had the experience of parents feeling either really guilty that, we're crying, or just being annoyed at this loud and annoying behavior. So this, you described it really quickly, but how do I, and you said, get listening, but what's that process like? I mean, how do I, if I get listened to, then how do I magically become this person who can listen to my own baby crying? Or it seems like magic.
Yes. Well, that's a really good question. I mean, I think that in some ways, we have to look at maybe some of the triggers we're feeling. What is it that's really hard for us? And maybe we can work on it a little bit. Just feel like, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know the best way to explain it, but I do know that it's an enormous help for me to have someone listen to me when it's, just those moments when I feel really alone. I know that someone who's there for me helps me to feel my feelings that maybe I was trying to just push away.
I see.
Yeah. And so you can begin to kind of go through the process of healing with just someone who's there for you, and kind of imagining, that someone holding my hand or staying close by me. And I think that that's what we offer for our babies when they're also feeling so overwhelmed, just knowing that you're close by without shushing or, we're open to listening without that overwhelming need to make it stop.
Nice.
That's the distinction. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, great. I think, thank you, Laura. You covered a lot, and thank you for letting me ask these questions.
Thank you for being with me. And I am hoping that, let's just take one more minute. If anyone has any questions or anything they wanted to bring up, that would be amazing. Otherwise, I hope that everyone continues to use the Facebook group to find connection. This is a place where there's a lot of good parents. All of us are doing the very best we can. So it's great that we can find each other here.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to the next two.
Oh, yeah.
And the next one is playful interaction with your baby. And that's a week from today, same time.
Yep.
The third one in the series, we're going to skip a week. It'll be on June 11th. Yep. And it's called A Tool for Easing Separation Anxiety for Your Baby. Is that right?
Yeah. So we'll talk about how to help your baby to be comfortable with a caregiver. There's some really specific tools that Patty Whitfler has developed. I find really helpful. I actually work in a setting with babies in a childcare setting, and it's really amazing both for teachers and for parents to know a little bit more, having a little bit of insight about the fears a baby has developmentally about new people. So I'm really excited to talk about that. I think it's really valuable for people to have that insight and a little bit of help in approaching that. So, okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. Looking forward to next week.
Everybody. Thank you. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.